Hey everybody, guess what? We have Jason Benham in the house. How you doing, Jason?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on.
Hey, terrific, terrific. Listen, you are like not only the number three top producing broker in the United States, but you have so many other accolades. You have so many other companies. I can't even, reading your bio is like I can't even keep up with it all. So I thought I would just
That's
touch
funny.
base with you and find out a little bit about your background before we sort of dive into some of your companies.
Well, awesome. Appreciate you having me on. The first thing I always tell folks is for me to take credit for building a successful business or a successful group of businesses would be like a shovel taking credit for digging a hole.
I love
I'm
that.
just the tool that God decided to use.
I
And
love
as I stayed in his hand, he's the one that actually dug the hole.
it.
So I've got a twin brother. His name is David. I typically like to tell people I have a twin sister. I'm the guy, he's the girl. Usually he's off in the corner sucking his thumb while I'm making sure that the business continues to move forward.
I love that.
We both played professional baseball out of college
Mhm,
in '98, and I played about 3 years. My brother played four. He touched in the big leagues for a few days. Absolutely loved it. I quit in Double A. I knew I was not on the fast track to the big leagues,
mhm,
and didn't want to be a 35-year-old person with zero career experience. And so my brother and I quit baseball, and we moved our families to Charlotte. Had no idea what we were going to do.
mhm,
Uh, all we knew was that we were hard workers and that we understood the principle of value.
mhm,
That all we had to do was go be valuable wherever we were,
mhm.
and that profit would find a way to make its way into our pocket.
I love it.
So, which that helped us a lot because we never ever had to focus on making the money per se. I mean, we
Mhm,
wanted to provide for our families.
mhm,
So all we had to focus on was being valuable wherever we were. So we had gotten our real estate licenses.
mhm,
This is back in 2000 and 2002. We
mhm,
had both gotten our real estate licenses. And in '03, we decided to actually join a small firm in Concord, North Carolina, that's just outside, just north of Charlotte.
mhm,
We had no idea what we were doing. We just knew that we were going to go out there and work as hard as we could. And after about 3 months of being with that real estate company, uh, we knew real estate was not for us.
mhm,
We were going on caravans.
mhm,
There's about 35 people in the company and about five guys, and we were two of them. And
mhm.
we would go on caravans, and these really nice old ladies would be talking about how incredible the Berber carpet was and how beautiful the furniture was and these new listings. And David and I wanted to blow our heads off. It was awful. We're like, if this is what real estate is, this is not for me.
Right.
Interestingly enough, we decided that we would get down on our knees and commit for 2 solid weeks that we would pray to God
Uh-huh.
to give us a niche.
Uh-huh.
And so we did that. We prayed for 14 straight days. And on that 14th day, we got a phone call from a bank
Mhm,
that said literally they were flipping through the yellow pages and decided to call our company. I was the agent on call,
mhm,
and he called in and said, my name is so and so with a particular bank. Would you like to sell a foreclosed property? And
mm.
I said, absolutely. He said, do you have any experience? I said, no, but you don't need experience from me because we're pit bulls. Whatever you need, we're going to get it done.
I love it.
Your needs are more important than my needs, and I'm going to give you more in value than I take in pay.
Mhm,
And so we went out and we checked occupancy and we got inside the house. We actually broke through the little window to get into the house. Of course, you can't do that anymore, but
right.
back in '03,
Uh-huh.
whatever it took to get inside that house. And so we had our value back to him and pictures that same day. And
Mhm,
I remember one thing he said, and it changed kind of the course on how we saw real estate. He said, all the brokers that I've ever given this assignment to, this foreclosure type of assignment, not the particular property, but an assignment like this, where you have to go and check occupancy and you have to do a valuation of it,
mhm.
send in pictures and all of those things. He said, I've never gotten one back as fast or as accurate as what you and your brother just did.
Wow, that's
And
great.
for us, that was Rocky's bell. In all the Rocky movies, there's a
Yeah.
period where there's a point where you hear that bell
Mhm,
and you
yeah.
know that Rocky's about to win the fight.
Right, right.
Well, that went on in our minds,
That's
and
great.
that was the beginning of something that just absolutely went into the stratosphere for us.
Mhm,
And then the next thing we know, banks were literally just calling and knocking on our doors to be able to give us properties. And the more properties we got, the more staff we hired, and then
mhm,
we decided to franchise the model in 2007.
mhm,
We franchised up. I think in about 2010, we were about 100 locations nationwide, spanning from California into Arizona, down into Florida, up into New York. Of course, things changed around 2011-ish, and we started paring down. We're probably 50 to 60 offices strong and just holding a steady pattern there. But last month, we just closed our 20,000th real estate property since my brother and I started real estate.
That is great. Congratulations.
Thank you. We give God the credit. I'm an idiot. My brother's a bigger idiot. We tell everybody we weren't trained to be business people. I didn't get a business degree. My brother didn't get a business degree. We were trained to be biblical thinkers. And so as we held on to the principles espoused by our Creator, He was able to do something through us because He knew that we wouldn't take the credit. So here I am having an interview with you.
That's amazing. That's amazing. You know, Jason, you're so inspirational because you hit on so many topics that I tell a lot of my clients, and that is especially real estate brokers and real estate agents, that number one, if you're doing something out of love and inspiration, you don't have to worry about the money because that'll be taken care of itself. And number two, I think it's really important for all of us, and whatever type of entrepreneur, as you know, Jason, we have entrepreneurs, not only real estate brokers, listening to the show today. And I think it's really important that you do narrow down your niche and really figure out what kind of niche. And that's amazing that you were able to call that into your life. So I'm really grateful for that. But tell me this: it sounds like you also have a streak of tenaciousness in you. I mean, you really took that bull by the horns and you ran with it. What do you see, like, when you're bringing employees in, and when you're bringing agents or brokers into your company? What do you see as the biggest problem that you have with them that they're not doing?
Well, we like to say this: first who, then what. The problem is that when you're looking for an agent or an employee, most of the time you know the what. You know what problem they need to solve. You know what position that they need to fulfill. You know what qualifications they need to have. You know all of those things. And when you're focusing so much on the what, oftentimes you skip the who.
Right.
At our company, we like to focus on the who, and then we say the what will take care of itself. So we're always on the lookout for good talent, regardless of whether or not we need that talent. The what always takes care of itself. So then we pull them in, and when you have the right who, then essentially you don't have to. You have to restrain the Mustang and not kick the mule. As bosses, we all understand that. I heard Trep Cathy say that once. He said, I would rather restrain a Mustang than kick a mule.
I love that. That's great.
So that's what I'm looking for. I'm not looking for mules. We're looking for Mustangs, and just let me put some reins on you. And I'm not worried about experience, not worried about anything like that. All we need is for you to be the right who. And so we have 3 core principles at our company that we live by. And when we bring people in and they do an interview with us, we say there's 3 things. We want to produce more in value than we take in pay, period. And when you are valuable and you're a value creator, then money will find its way into your pocket. You don't have to go after it. 2, we want to breathe life, meaning we want to be producers and not consumers. We want to be fountains and not drains. We want to pour out and not just suck in like a drain. A fountain, all it has to do is stay connected to the source. That's all a fountain has to do. A drain, on the other hand, wants to be connected to a fountain so that it can pull down. So then that's where you get people that want to live off of you. They're just looking for the next successful guy that they can go and either try to get their support in some ministry thing they're doing, or if they can just come and just basically jump on their back. We want to be fountains and not drains. And then thirdly, we want to be faithful in little. The speck of sand in your shoe won't stop you from a sprint, but it will destroy your foot in a marathon. It will. And we're in a marathon here. It's the little tiny speck of sand that you think is no big deal. It's not that big of a deal if I show up a little late. It's not that big of a deal if, I put this off until tomorrow. Well, those little things will add up to a mountainous problem. And if there's a speck of sand in your shoe and you go to run a marathon, you're not finishing it, period.
I love that. That's great.
So when all of that stuff lines up, then your employee problems essentially take care of themselves. We still have problems, of course. You got to go through discipline and that type of stuff. But for the most part, you really do save yourself a lot of headache.
Wow. Well, Jason, obviously this energy that you have really comes through, and it's such an honor to be here with you.
Likewise.
And thank you. And you obviously have this entrepreneurial spirit that is just mind-blowing. But tell me this, maybe what is one of the biggest challenges you've had, say, in the last 10 years with your business, with the real estate business? Anything that you can share with us, and how did you sort of get through that?
Well, I'll tell you, the biggest challenge for me was to restrain myself. I always
I
said
can
if I
tell
didn't have
that.
4 kids, if I didn't have 4 kids and a wife, I felt like I would have already started 50 companies. So I feel as though God was really putting on me, pace yourself.
Hmm.
Go one step at a time. You walk in my ways and just follow me, and I will grow you as I see fit. So the principle that we've derived out of that, and that what I've gone and taught so many business entrepreneurs is, you focus on depth.
Hmm.
God handles breadth. You think about a tree
Uh-huh.
and how tall and how wide that tree goes.
Hmm.
Well, however tall and wide it goes, that tap root is
Hmm.
going down that deep.
Right.
And the roots expand out, the stuff that you can't see.
Hmm.
And so I tell all of our employees, I tell other entrepreneurs, I tell them, look, you focus on depth.
Hmm.
You be the best person that you can be.
Hmm.
Of course, I say step one is getting in touch with your creator, but you be the best person that you can be. And then you be a producer and not a consumer. You be a value creator. You be that type of person and focus on that depth. Breadth, how big your business goes, how much money comes in the door,
Right.
what type of influence that you have, all of that stuff takes care of itself. So for me, the challenge was to not put my mind and my focus on the breadth.
I love
Was
that.
to not, I mean, look, there's nothing wrong with having goals. My goal last year was personally, I wanted to close 1,000 properties.
Wow.
Here just in Charlotte, I closed 9. I don't know, I came up short, but
Uh-huh.
that was a goal. But my focus was on how deep can I go in my value proposition to my clients.
Wow.
The breadth will take care of itself. I
That's
needed to
beautiful.
focus on the depth. So that's always a challenge for me.
Hmm.
And
That's beautiful. I like that. I like that a lot.
yeah,
It's so funny because you talk about step one, and in my book, Massive Abundance, my step one is to tap into your vision and tap into your passion, because that's really it's. That's the beginning of it all. What is the
yeah,
vision
that's,
that
that's
What is the vision that you have? Because it sounds like to me you're in the top 3 real estate brokers. You've got all these different companies. You want to be held back because you have all these visions.
sure.
What is the vision that you have overall for your business?
Okay, good. That's a very good question. I want to back up about vision.
Hmm.
A couple things about vision. Vision is a very clear picture of what could be and what should be
Hmm.
for your life, for your organization, for your
Certainly.
family. The clearer the vision, the fewer the options, the easier the decision.
Hmm.
So when your vision is very clear and you know where you're going, then
Hmm.
somebody can come up and offer you a job. They can offer you money. They can offer you another opportunity.
Hmm.
The clearer your vision is, the easier it will be for you to say, no, that doesn't fit for me.
Hmm.
But the first step that comes even before vision is, and it says very clearly in the scripture, that the pure in heart see God. If you want to have very clear vision, it starts with purity in your own heart.
Uh,
What type of husband are you?
hmm.
What type of man are you?
Hmm.
What type of person are you when you're put in a situation where you can get the seller to hold a silent second and you're not going to tell the lender? Do you do that type of deal? If you do that type of deal, what happens is goggles come over.
Hmm.
And now all of a sudden your vision is clouded. And
Hmm.
you may think that you have a vision, but you don't have a vision at all.
Hmm.
So first it starts inside, and it starts with purity.
Hmm.
And then that vision comes. So my brother and I,
Beautiful.
our vision for our company has always been one thing, and that is to simply build a platform that we can stand on,
Hmm.
to be able to influence others, to be able to build the same type of platform.
Yeah.
So when you talk about vision, that's what we think of as vision. Now, if you want to talk goals, our
Hmm.
goal was to get to 20,000 assets sold by 2015 or whatever. We got there by 2013.
Uh-huh.
So that was a goal, but our overall vision was to build something that was good enough and big enough to where it would be a platform where people would actually bend their ear and listen to what we had to say.
That's amazing. That's great. That is terrific. Now, so just curious. So you yourself, I mean, you're running all these companies, but you yourself, Jason Benham, you're also selling.
Uh, in Charlotte,
Uh-huh.
I am the listing broker
Uh,
on our properties.
I see.
Now I have a team in place
Hmm.
of staff that
Mhm.
help me, input the listings and handle the valuations and all of those types of things. Then I have a buyer agent team
Hmm.
that handles the co-broke.
Got it.
Of course, we co-broke with a lot of different brokers, but so those properties are in my name, and banks, my particular bank clients will assign a property to Jason Benham, and I take it. I know what's going on with all my properties here, and we have a good system that helps me to be able to do that. But in order to handle scale, we had to systematize and streamline ourselves so that we could sell properties here in Charlotte. So when I say 20,000 assets, me here in Charlotte, I've sold probably about maybe 7,000 since I started, and about 13,000 nationwide. But that's through a franchise model that we started back in 07.
When do you sleep?
I sleep very well. I actually had some blood work done last week. My brother and I hired a nutritionist, and I wanted to see what my cortisol levels are, and my DHEA and your stress levels, and so I got that back, and he said, I'm really shocked that your stress levels are so under control. He's like, are you taking any supplements or anything? And so I kind of gave him my morning routine when I wake up and spend, alone time. That, I'm telling you, time alone is so very important, especially for someone like you and other entrepreneurs and leaders, and it was something that Jesus, of course, modeled for us. He was always going off and getting alone. And if you can't be alone, no radio, no other person calling, no TV, none of that, just alone with your thoughts. You can hear yourself breathe. It's in that moment that you begin to recoup and regenerate and rejuvenate. I'm sure you know exactly what I'm talking
Absolutely. I do the same thing. First thing I do when I get up is just spend time by myself with a gratitude journal and just writing
That's
and
awesome.
thinking and stuff like that. Very briefly, Jason, tell me, what is your morning routine?
Okay, I'm up about 5 o'clock, and I get up. Very first thing that I do is I go and I make some green tea, and I drink about 3 cups of water, and then I got my green tea, and I walk outside in my outside right there on my driveway. We have some land, and I'm able to see all the stars. I get on my knees and I raise my hands to God, and I give Him the day. And I thank Him for His blessings. And then I go in, I finish out prayer about an hour later, and then I read the Bible for about an hour and a half, 2 hours, and then I head off to a workout and in the office.
Wow. That's
so
amazing.
by the time 9:30 rolls around, I've already fed my soul and my spirit, and I've fed my body. Now my brain is fully engaged and ready to go punch, some type of process right in the mouth.
I love it. I love it. Let me switch gears. I want to go back to the fact that you are so inspirational and motivational. You
are too.
Yeah, thanks. And you have this great vision. But a lot of times I encounter a lot of entrepreneurs, probably like myself, that have a hard time giving up control. And you have created this empire, so to speak. How do you deal with that? How do you give up control? Is that a problem for you?
Sure. I think it's a problem for anybody when your name is on the line to release control.
Yeah.
But I knew right from the beginning that if I wanted to scale my business, that I couldn't do it with my thumb on it.
Got it.
I had to release the control. I had to be willing to delegate. There's plenty of stories in the Old Testament that I had read and used as a model for how to replicate myself and how to make sure that for my brother and I, the most important thing for us was time. That was more important than money. So you have all sorts of folks that will give up a lot of time to be able to make a lot of money.
Right.
So we made a decision right from the beginning, before we had made good money or anything like that, that if we got to a point where we were working more than 45 to 50 hours a week, no matter if we felt like we had the money or not, we were going to hire staff. So we had to hire staff, and slowly but surely we began to release. And then that set the stage for us to be able to franchise it. And that's the ultimate release of control right there.
Right.
Being able to franchise. So you can't scale. If you're a control freak, then you're going to have a great business, but you're just not going to be able to scale it.
Right. Jason, that's terrific. Some people watching this, though, are going to think to themselves, because they're going to see in the show notes, BenhamCompanies.com, you have this whole list of companies. But your real estate business is concentrated with REO properties.
That's right.
When I was an auditor at PricewaterhouseCoopers, we used to call that a concentration of risk. Are you concerned that at some point this economy is going to turn around and that you're going to be solely vested in REO properties?
My brother and I decided right from the get-go, we actually had that thought. We've got a retail division, We've got a short sale division. We have a property management division. We have a valuations division. So we have several divisions of our company. You know, if REO goes away tomorrow, I'm still going to have a company. It's just not going to be nearly as big.
Right.
But what we've done is, what I tell everybody is, you find your niche. You find that, and it's like if you look at the Kentucky Derby, and you've got all those horses lined up, and then that gate opens.
All right.
They're thinking one thing: get across that finish line as fast as humanly possible. Well, right now, David and I are on lap 4, and we are running as hard as we can. REO has not gone away, but what you do is you take the riches that you make from that niche and you convert it to wealth. So if money were water, riches would be buckets of water. Wealth would be a river of water. You can fish out of a river. If I were to take a cup and dip it down into a bucket, well, the level of the water decreases by that much. If I take a cup and dip it down into a river, the level of the water is constantly replenished. So if REO goes away tomorrow, well, I've got 7 other companies that can pick up steam and move and continue to go in that direction. So for us, we can't compete with Keller Williams and Remax and those folks on the retail, and we didn't even try. All we know is that we were going to do everything we could to knock REO in the mouth, and by God's grace, I think we've done a decent job of that.
And you absolutely have. What terrific metaphors. What's the next big thing for Jason Benham?
Well, there's something that's really big on the forefront. I'm not at liberty to actually say what it is, but it's definitely something. It'll be on network television.
Oh, on network television. Very cool. Very cool. Well, that's terrific. Jason, let me ask you this. It's something that I usually ask all my guests. If keeping in mind that we have a lot of aspiring entrepreneurs, people considering starting businesses, people considering getting into real estate. If you have one or two pieces of advice that you could give a brand new entrepreneur, a brand new real estate agent, what would that be?
Well, I would go back to my 3 core values. That right where you are, first, don't focus on breadth. You focus on depth. Go down deep. And then I would go into my 3 core values. You be a producer and not a consumer. You give more value than you take in pay. So whether you're a school bus driver right now, or whether you're a teacher, or whether you're collecting garbage, you go and be a value creator right there. And then you be faithful in the little. Don't worry about what happens tomorrow. You worry about what you have on your plate for today. And how you do anything is how you do everything. And how you complete that commonplace task can hallow that task forever. I remember when I was a kid, I watched a busboy in Denny's. He was about 40 years old. And this guy literally would pull up to a table, and he would look at that table, and he would sit there and he would study it for about 60 seconds. And then he would look at his watch, and then he would press the timer, and boom, he went at it. And I'm telling you, he was going behind the back, he was going around the head with these cups, and he was putting them, and then the bus tray was put up, everything was put there perfectly, and the table was completely done in a matter of about 15 to 20 seconds.
Wow.
From that day forward, I never looked at busboys the same. He made that commonplace task sacred in my mind forever. So I would tell aspiring entrepreneurs, don't worry about how big your company is going to be one day or how much money you're going to make. You know what? There's a waiter out there that needs you to say something nice to them today. There's someone working at Walmart that needs someone to breathe life into her today. Do that. And as you do that, you will be amazed at where God leads you.
That is terrific. Terrific. Jason, this has been a complete honor and so inspirational. We are really better for listening to all of your great advice. Again, we'll have all of the information to contact you in our show notes. We definitely want to direct everybody to benhamcompanies.com. And Jason, all I can say, thank you, sir. I appreciate it very much. It was a pleasure.
I appreciate you, and the way that you're doing all of this. I'm inspired by you, Chris, to be able to do the stuff that you're doing. I mean, holy cow! I would never be able to put all this stuff on. I couldn't even barely figure out the go-to-meeting thing. So I applaud you for all that you're doing as well.
Thanks so much, Jason. I appreciate you taking the time, and we're looking forward to hearing your big news too.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, my friend. Take care.
Take care. See you.